Welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution!
Welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution, live from Los Angeles. Got one of my faves on the show. One of my faves, Bobby Ray Shafer. One of the finest actors we have. Would you say that? Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I'd like to think so, but
I think we all would like to think so.
fan.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
I'm a big fan of yours.
Well, and I am too. You know, I'm a big fan of myself as well. And I don't want to shortchange myself, but you know,
it has to be
love
that
my
way.
work. Yeah, I know.
You'll never be better than you were today.
I know. It's like that with every actor.
That's right.
How many times do you get Bob Vance refrigeration from The Office on a daily basis?
Well, I say it to myself at least 3 times a day. You know, morning, noon, and night.
Bob Vance refrigeration.
It still works.
Yeah.
The joke still works.
Because everybody is still fans of The Office, by the way.
It's more so now than when it was. It was
it's
on
funny
TBS and on NBC.
Yeah, we had Jim O'Hare on yesterday.
Parks and Rec.
From Parks and Rec, and he said the exact same thing. Where it's like, you know, because of the reruns now. The younger generation is now into it, and they're more into it than when it was on TV, and it was just like shit. So it's going to keep living on forever and ever, which is a good and a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing. It's Rolling Stone picked it as one of the top 100 shows of all time.
Oh, for sure.
Number 48 it was.
What was it?
Yeah, number 48.
Yeah. I would say it should be higher, I think.
There's a lot of good shows on there, though.
Well,
you know.
yeah.
9 seasons was a long time.
9 seasons was a long time.
Right. It was the lowest rated NBC show in history after its first season.
I know. By the way, I turned it off. I didn't like self-admittedly. I couldn't get into the first 2 episodes because I was such a huge fan of the British version. Right. And here's a fun fact: I got asked to audition for it for the role of Jim.
Nice.
And I said no. Because I was at the time there was another show called Coupling.
Right.
It was a great British show.
Same executive producers.
Really?
Yeah.
So they brought it over to America, and one of my buddies, one of my best friends, I'm not going to say who it was. He got that show.
He got
scorched earth across the board, and he didn't work for a while after that.
Yeah.
And so with The Office, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was like so sacred that I couldn't. I was like, no, if this turns out wrong, or if I were to get it, because obviously it's just an audition. You never know if you're going to get it or not. But would I be scorched earth like my buddy, and then all of a sudden, boom, 9 seasons, everybody's rich, but the guy who did it,
things worked out well.
Yeah, he's
John Krasinski,
and he was the right person for it. But like, I was afraid of it. I was afraid of the show. But we'll dive into that later. We got some sponsors, Bobby, who pay for this to be on the air, which is. Again, I
love sponsors.
Say it every episode. Yeah, we love them, but it's also shocking that people pay for the show to be on the air.
God bless them.
Yeah, because it's just a hack of a guy doing it. You know,
sponsors with good taste.
I know. First up, we got StraightRazors.com. We were talking about this right before you came on. I got the cleanest shave in the world, and you were like, "Dude, you smell delightful." What is that?
It didn't scratch my face at all when you were rubbing me.
No, not at all. When we started making out when you came in. Nothing. We got nothing at all.
It had been a while. But I was real baby smooth. Still got that baby face. Real smooth, and it's because of StraightRazors.com. I'm going to place an order.
You should.
I will.
You should. StraightRazors.com, #1 ranked aftershave cologne. And their razors are phenomenal. If you want a fine shaving kit, go to StraightRazors.com. Best in the biz. Can't be a bigger fan. Type in the promo code REVOLUTION. You get 20% off. Next up, we got CarnivoreClub.co. This is another big one. This is a meat of the month club. You can't go wrong there.
Carnivore. You had me at Carnivore.
I know. And I've seen you man a grill in real life. You did a full rap party for us.
That's right. I found a refuge at the grill.
God, you kill it. You kill it on the grill.
They kept bringing the beer.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to do?
I know.
Keep grilling.
I know. Keep grilling. They scour the earth to try to find the tastiest meats in the land. They deliver it right to your doorstep. It's a subscription of the month. I have it. It's incredible. They got salami, spicy spreadable pork, bacon, you name it. The finest meats in the land. Go to carnivoreclub.co. That's a .co. Type in the promo code REVOLUTION. You get 20% off.
There's a deal.
Yeah, I know. That's a deal. It says same with the next one, strikeforceenergy.com. They're little tiny tin pouches. Have you seen them? They're silver tin pouches. It goes in waters, beers, liquors, anything, and it's like 5-hour energy, but it actually tastes good. That
Sounds
actually tastes good. Yeah, and you kick the can. You don't need the can anymore with that. You can throw the cans out the window. You don't need to get Red Bull or Monster or any of that stuff.
What happens after 4 hours if it's still,
Boy, I can
go
tell
see a
you,
doctor?
Yeah, I can tell you as a man, I drink because I only use a half a pack. If I use a full pack, dude, I am flying for the
Don't
day.
want to overdo it.
Flying for the day.
Gotcha.
And I've got a lot of energy as it is. This sends me flying. So go to strikeforceenergy.com. Type in the promo code REVOLUTION. You get 20% off there as well. Last but not least this one's mine. This is my book. At night she cries while he rides a steed. The first ever romance novel for dudes.
Patterson, you magnificent bastard!
I know.
I read your book.
How great is it?
It's it'll make you cry.
Yeah.
It'll make you stronger and harder as a man. I think. I'm just saying.
Look, some people say it's the funniest book ever written, and to those people who say that, I agree with them. I will say Ross Patterson is one of the finest authors we've ever had in our entire life.
Oh, he's up there, way up there.
I think Rolling Stone said I was number 2. And their top list of authors of all time.
We were number 48.
The guy who wrote the Bible, they gave number 1, which I was like,
That's a collection of writers, right? It's not one guy wrote the Bible.
There's a
bunch of them.
I think.
Like 50 or 60 of them.
Yeah. Go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart.com, or bookstores everywhere. At night she cries while he rides a steed. Now that the sponsors are out of the way, Bobby Ray Shafer is here, kids.
Thank you.
If you don't know his work, you've been in, I want to say, almost every movie I've done. You were Helen Keller versus Night Wolves.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning.
No. Yeah.
Well,
you were Range 15. You did some voiceover in Range 15.
What was the name of that character? I need to put it on my IMDb.
IMDb, I know.
Mike Williams or something like that.
Yeah. I forget what company it was for, but you always crush it and everything. The Whiffler. Was the Whiffler the first movie we did?
It was the Ted Whitfield story.
The Ted Whitfield story.
The Ted Whitfield story.
That was the first movie we did, right?
That's right, and I was very impressed by that. I remember I got the pages on Friday afternoon, and I was shooting on Sunday.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Independent filmmaking.
So I was obviously replacing some schmo.
You were.
I was.
You were.
And I don't even want to know what her name was.
Yeah.
And so I was on 19 pages, and I remember looking through that script going, what, another one?
Yeah,
because these were big blocks. I was doing a lot of exposition there.
You were one of the leads in that, and
right.
it was you had a lot of dialogue, very funny.
Yeah, very funny.
And you crushed in that movie. So I just kept bringing you back.
Well, who doesn't want to pour blue cheese all over their shoulders and chest?
Yeah.
I mean, that's delirious
you
experience
did pour
right
blue
there.
cheese all over your chest.
I did, and I ate some carrots and celery out of it. It was refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was a hot summer day, and I remember the bugs were attacking.
Oh, yeah.
Boy. Somewhere in Simi Valley.
Simi Valley, we shot that movie.
And I think
real hot up there.
I should remind you that is 9 years ago.
You're kidding. Is it really?
9 years ago.
Holy
2008.
Shit. God, yeah. I mean, that was, look, I started producing in 2006 is when I started getting into producing. I was still doing other people's movies.
Yeah.
But I think at that point I'd shifted to full-time my own company. Was it that long ago? I've been doing this for that long.
That shows you how fast time flies.
I know.
Because it seems like yesterday that we made it, right?
It does, yeah.
And just for the fans who haven't seen it, please go get it. The Ted Whitfield story. Ross is great in it. Seriously.
You were great in it. It's on Amazon. It's iTunes. Across the board.
Completely encapsulated a baseball player's professional career into one season.
Yeah, it's about the greatest wiffle ball player of all time.
Well, he goes through it all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at the very top. He's at the very bottom. He's got the the dino steroid.
Yeah.
He joins a cult. I mean, lots of things happen.
Yeah.
And he sets the freaking home run record.
Of wiffle
what is
ball.
it, 122 of them you blasted?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It must have been so much fun hitting that wiffle ball like that.
Ben, I, as a kid, as a baseball player growing up, and an avid wiffle ball player as a kid, to do that movie was a blast.
Yeah,
And here's the crazy thing. I actually went to like batting cages and shit in practice because I hadn't played baseball in a while.
Sure, absolutely.
And my stroke is beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it's number 2. Rolling Stone ranked my stroke number 2 behind Ken Griffey Jr.
No, it was epic.
Yeah. And it was a blast of a movie. What else? What do we do after that?
And then, of course, FDR, American
Badass.
Badass.
That's right. You have the best scene in that movie, by the way. To this day, everybody quotes that scene, the Bon Jovi.
I didn't even realize it was a Bon Jovi song until
I know you didn't. you had no idea. It was like, hey man,
I didn't recognize the
this
lyrics.
Is the Bon Jovi song that we're doing.
Well, I just didn't want to make it sound like the
Tommy
Bon Jovi
used to work
song.
on the docks.
Yeah. So that was the trick in that, right?
Yeah.
Was how to make it
but even
the rhythm without sounding like you were.
Yeah, because with
song.
FDR American Badass, that movie came out and crushed. And I remember somebody, the first scene somebody ripped of that and put it on YouTube was your scene.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was Living on a Prayer.
So what's the deal with the ex-presidents? Are you just into history, or
I am
what's the
actually.
deal? That's awesome.
My wife and I talk about this all the time. I'm into biographies and true stories.
Yeah, me too.
So with there was another movie I did called Darnell Dawkins' Mouth Guitar Legends,
right?
Which is about the greatest mouth guitarists of all time. But it's about Jimi Hendrix and Joplin and all those guys. And like I'm a history buff.
Right.
I like it.
It's a nice way to inform because everybody already has a connection to the original subject, right?
So I like doing movies like that and then recreating characters. Like for Helen Keller, not only is Helen Keller versus Night Wolves one of the funniest movies ever. And you're fantastic in it.
Well, you gave me a broadsword and a bucket of blood. What else does a fellow need to have some fun?
That's what a goddamn man does for his family.
That's one of the greatest lines ever. That is the new real opener, by the way.
Yeah. You were drenched in blood.
No, it's classic. It's classic.
That was a great time, but I enjoyed.
You really offended a lot of people with that, by the way.
Offended a lot of people. A lot of my movies. Pool Boy is one of the most. Pool Boy Dragging Out the Fury is one of the most offensive movies.
Yeah, but Helen Keller is
time.
sort of up there. She's just below the presidential Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Anne Frank would be on that list as well.
I will say
why
this.
not do an Anne Frank movie? Seriously,
you laugh. Anne Frank versus zombie Nazis.
I love it. Let's go. When do we shoot?
She's coming out of the closet now.
But I want to play the Nazi.
Yeah. You're down. I'd be down for that. But ironically, I will say this about Helen Keller versus Night Wolves. I did a Comic-Con signing and all that shit, and I had a bunch of blind and deaf girls.
Oh yeah.
Who came up and asked to sign the poster, and they were like, "Hey, thank you for finally making a movie where Helen Keller is a badass and like you're not making fun of her."
That's awesome.
And they were stoked about it.
I mean, that's really kind of the ideal combination: blind and deaf girl.
Yeah.
Really, a fan and a fan. Seriously, that was a great weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, that's wrong, but it's right.
Yeah, it's really right. But I want to dive into your acting career because you always pop up in like the most oddest, entertaining films there is, and we're friends through Facebook and all that stuff, so I get to see what you're doing all the time. Right. Where are you from initially, and what made you get into acting?
Well, I'm from West Virginia originally.
Okay.
And a woman made me get into acting. I mean, so there you have it.
Girlfriend?
Yes.
At the time, high school or
no,
college?
No, here in Los Angeles.
Really?
Right. And she was an actress, so that's.
Did you go to college at all? Did you study drama in high school or college?
No, I had no desire ever.
Really? You just moved to LA. What would you move to LA for originally?
Well, I thought I was going to be a model, and I would really
shut the fuck up.
Well, I was too tall for that game, right?
Yeah.
You need to be 6'1", 6'2".
You're a large man. You're 6'5"
ish.
Yeah. Probably 6'6".
Probably. I was standing in front of one of those prison walls, and I noticed when I saw the photo, I was like, 6'6".
Yeah.
What the hell? So being tall in Hollywood is tough.
Sure.
It's not
No, I look, I tell people when I first moved here and I sent out my headshot and resume, you'd put your height, weight, all that. So I'm 6'3". I sent out 150 3 times a week for like 3 weeks. I got one call back from a commercial agency.
And they said too tall?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they go, are you really 6'3"? I go, yep. And they go, oh, you're too tall for car commercials. And they hang up the phone. And I was like, what the fuck? But like, but I remember seeing like, swingers and stuff like that. And I was just like, dude, Vince Vaughn is tall.
He's 6'5".
Yeah.
He's right up
He's
there.
a big boy.
One of the biggest guys working, right?
So what made you move to L.A.?
The weather.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, I came out here with a girl.
You did? From West Virginia?
Then I met this other girl.
You met this other girl. And then another girl.
Well, I got into class, right? I got into this acting class. Her name was Peggy Fury, and people in the class were Meg Ryan, Eric Stoltz, Jennifer Tilly,
Jeez.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Sean Penn.
The heavy hitters.
Nick Cage. So this was a really competitive
class
arena.
Yeah.
Like you were not. Everybody was doing their best work.
Sure.
And still, I think, to this day, it was some of the best because your preparation was so total.
Right.
You just did not. Everybody had to do the scene usually twice.
Sure.
But the goal was to only do it once.
Right. Because did you know at the time when you were with all those guys how great they were?
Yes and no. I mean, you're competing with them, right?
Sure.
And
well, for example, when I moved here, I jumped into a class immediately because that's what they told me out of school. They were like, hey, get into a class immediately. Don't let your skills slack. And I was like, all right, cool. I jumped into this class. I would say 20 people were in there. I would say 3 were good.
Right.
And I knew who was great and who wasn't. And I could weed that out pretty easily.
Right.
But with heavy hitters like this.
Well, they were all working, right? They were all going away to do a movie while I was there. So, the proof was in the pudding.
Yeah. Well,
so to speak, right?
It is and it isn't because I think there's a way in films where you can cheat.
Sure.
I know I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time, only because I spend so much time in post. I know that I can cheat angles, cheat takes. I can, repeat it over and over and over and over again, and I'll be able to cut it myself. So my acting is become lazier. I will say as time goes by, only because I know post production so well.
Well, it requires less.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You do not.
I know angles better than everybody else, so it's like I cheat more. So I didn't know if those guys cheat more when they came back from movies.
No, I think we were all young and eager go-getters, and we believed in this craft and this technique, and we were purists.
Sure.
I was a knight on a white charger. I was in it for the art of acting. That's what drew me. Right. That's why I always ask young actors I talk with today, why are you doing this?
A lot of them say fame, right?
Well,
I want to be famous.
That's the stupidest thing ever.
I know, but that's the typical answer. It's like, I want to be famous.
Well, they asked these kids, they did a survey, would you rather be rich or famous? What'd they say?
Yeah, famous. Yeah.
Because if you're rich, you can be as famous as you want to be. You
can buy your way into fame easily.
Well, of course. Yeah. I pay $30,000 a month to Rogers and Cowan, PR firm.
Yeah.
I'm at every film
magazine,
opening. I mean, every magazine. Yeah. So obviously you'd rather be rich. But I always like there's a great line from Charles Bukowski, the L.A. poet.
Yeah.
Fame is the last whore.
Yeah. Oh, of course it is.
Because he became famous at the end of his life.
Sure.
Right?
Super old.
He had worked for years and years, and this fame thing. It's all about creating a persona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
how's it working out for you?
Yeah. Exactly. Or you become infamous.
Right.
For something.
Sure.
So you're studying in school. What would you say? What was your first acting gig? Like, where you actually got paid for it?
It was the NBC show Highway to Heaven.
With Michael Landon?
With Michael Landon.
Wow. How was Landon?
He was great.
Was he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pro's pro, right? Victor French hired me, who was his buddy.
Okay.
And directed this episode. And my first line was, "Get an ambulance."
Dude, it's funny how you remember your first line.
Well, you never forget that one.
Don't.
Get an ambulance.
Get an ambulance.
I'm still working on it. Get an ambulance.
Get an ambulance. Get an ambulance.
An ambulance.
Yeah, you start improv. Get a fucking ambulance. We're all gonna die.
I worked on that line for days. I was so excited. First network television show, and
I remember. It's fine. I remember mine. From the first studio movie was a movie called The New Guy, and the line was "Wrong level, bitch."
That's a good
Wrong
first.
level,
that's
bitch.
a good first line.
Yeah. See, I think you always remember. Funny enough, I don't remember any other lines from anything else after that.
That's right. But a buddy of mine who who's a great actor. His first TV show was Gunsmoke, and, and his first movie was Cool Hand Luke. And I was like, that's pretty good.
That's amazing. How do you beat that?
Yeah, that's
you kind of. It's all downhill after that.
Started.
It's all downhill after that. Huh? So you did this, and then how did your career go after that? Up until.
Well, I don't know. You just keep going, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you enough to pay the bills, or did you have to have another job?
No, I had to have other jobs to support my acting habit.
Sure.
You know, I wasn't making enough money. I mean, especially in independent films, right?
Yeah, you don't make anything.
I mean, it's the most impossible.
I know, it's $125 a day, and you're like, all right, great.
Well, back then it was more, but they've gone in the wrong direction. These guys.
Yeah.
It's almost shameful what they've done.
It's
really.
good. It's great. It's crazy.
It's great for the producers. I mean, I enjoy the pay rate when I'm producing.
Yeah. But if the movie is successful, because sometimes it's not, and you're like, all right, fuck.
That's the nature of the beast, right? I mean, speaking of Ted Whitfield, what a difference the right distributor would have made on that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The right PR.
Absolutely.
We've got to get the baby into the world, right? The world has to meet the baby.
Yes.
And the world never got to meet the baby. That's what happens in independent. You can make the best
title
film.
change. Yeah, I mean they changed the title, they changed the artwork. A lot of it you can. You know, a lot of times it is out of your control.
That's right.
As with all these movies.
That's right.
You know, fuck. You take that King Kong movie that came out this weekend. It made $60 million, but it cost, you know,
$250 million.
Exactly, and they're looking at that as a failure, and you're like, all right, that's a gigantic studio film.
That's still going to make money when it's all said
I think
and done.
overseas, but it's you know, you go into that with the best intentions, and it's like, did that probably help anybody's career stateside in Hollywood? Probably not.
No,
you know,
it's a popcorn movie.
I know,
right?
I know, but you would think like, holy shit, this is gonna make a gajillion dollars, and
it will in China.
It will in China, yeah.
That's what
You'll
they care
be
about.
super famous in China.
The most popular TV show, this is something you're learning right now.
Yeah,
TV show in China right now is an old favorite called Hunter.
You were kidding me.
No, starring the
football player.
Yeah, Stephen.
Fuck, I forget Hunter's name. My parents
number
were
one in China.
Huge. Oh, I'm sure.
They love it.
I remember. I've done a few films with Kevin Sorbo as well. When we went to France to Cannes for a movie together, and
I didn't know you'd been there.
He was super famous over there.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, man, everybody's coming up to you. Women, all this stuff, and I was like, finally I asked the waitress, you speak English? She's like, yeah. And she goes, I was like, how, you know Kevin? Like, how is he so famous here? And she was like, oh my gosh, Hercules and Andromeda are on every night.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh shit.
It's that many years behind.
They're that many years behind, and it's showing like 2 hours a block. They were like, he's like the most famous person here. And I was like, I did not think about that.
He's done a ton of smaller movies that, you know, people aren't. It's not in their awareness.
Yeah.
I mean, he works all the time. Right?
I know, it's crazy.
He's a very talented guy. I like him a lot.
I love working with him.
Yeah,
he's great at comedy and drama. That guy.
Yeah, he can do it all,
which I like. So as you're going along, plodding along through your career, what would you say your big break was?
Well, I got Psychocop.
Psychocop.
Right. I signed a 5-picture deal for it. They're just getting ready to reissue Psychocop Returns, the sequel, on Blu-ray for the first time. There's only 1666 copies.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Really?
My badge number's it's 666. And by the way, I got the badge. I stole the badge.
You still have it?
The badge is mine. Okay, that's where it went. I took it. It belongs to Psychocop.
You still have the badge. I
Hell
like that.
Yeah, I've got the badge.
That's awesome.
The producer's looking around. Where's the badge? Who do you think got the badge?
Yeah, I got the fucking badge.
Did I admit to it? I did not.
No,
but I got the badge.
And they don't care later on. Yeah.
So I got that picture, and I signed a.
What year did that come out?
Well, '89 was the first one, right? And so I signed a 5-picture deal for it with all these great little ladder bumps in it.
Yeah,
I already knew what the money was going to be.
Sure.
Right? And that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But I still got to make 2 of them. I mean, it was a life changer for me. That's how I gauge the parts now. Is it going to change my life?
Sure.
Or is it not?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a gig, right?
Yeah.
It's a role. I appreciate them all, and I always try to bring my best to it.
Sure.
My goal when I started was I didn't want anybody to. Whenever I left a set, I wanted people to say, "What a pro!"
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, you are.
That's
why I love working with you.
Right.
Yeah, you're always on time. You're always great. And the crew and the cast love hanging out with you.
That's right.
And you always have the best stories.
That's right. Well,
that's what I hear. I'm always running around, so I don't get to hear your cool shit.
Yeah, but when you're directing and acting, I don't know how you do those two things at once.
That's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy. You know? It's a lie. It's only because I want the control. Truthfully, after that wiffle ball movie, I didn't want somebody taking the power away from me anymore.
That.
And it's look, man, you lose relationships and friendships and all this shit in this business. But look, I will say after that, everything that's happened to me movie-wise, it's been the movie I wanted. It was the artwork I wanted. It went out to the world the way I wanted.
And you had final cut.
Yes, and I had final say of it.
That's right.
Most importantly, I had final say of it.
Everything.
Casting, everything. And you can only do that when you want to do
That's right.
You
make your own
stuff.
movie. That's right.
Yes. So Psychocop comes out. Do you have to work anymore? Do you have to work any more jobs?
Oh, sure. No, I still did. It wasn't until I got on The Office that I was able to leave the side. Little show.
Small show.
Yeah, luckily ended up on that. So
yeah. And how did that come about? How did that
I
come to you?
auditioned for it. I mean, the funny part of the story, though, was I hate to be late.
Yeah.
Especially for auditions or even for work. I'm never late.
You're never late.
Well, I'm driving into Hollywood, and there's all this traffic, and I'm supposed to be there at 5. It's 4:30.
Traffic in Hollywood?
Well,
what?
But it shouldn't be at that time, right? I should be able to scoot right in there.
Sure.
Well, it's Halloween in Hollywood is what it is. Oh, my God.
Santa Monica
I didn't realize,
Boulevard is closed.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all these people in costumes. The costumes are ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to park. I mean, it's zany.
It's utter chaos.
And so I'm running for this office now, and I get there 20 minutes late, and I'm pouring sweat.
Yeah.
I'm the last guy of the day. You know, when they're waiting for you to come in, you're like, oh, they're going to hate me.
Oh, yeah. It never goes well.
Well,
usually.
I did nail it. Sometimes
Sure.
Right. But it was about 2 weeks later that I got a call that said, can you come back for a callback?
Right.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And had it been on air at this point?
Yes, we were it was in the second season.
Okay, so you knew how good the show was.
Well, I'd seen some episodes in the first, and I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah, like we talked about at the top of the show, I turned it off after the second episode, and then everybody started calling, and they were like, oh man, I love The Office. I was like, talking about the same show? And they were like, just give it a chance, get through the opening, and then, halfway, I think, this is just me personally, halfway through the first season and then towards the end of the season is when it really started to kick in, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good.
Well, they were doing almost word for word from the British version.
Right.
And those first 6 episodes, Michael Scott is a dark bastard.
He's
got the hair slicked back. He's got sort of a brooding, more evil intention. They made him much more childish, really, by the end of the run. He was really...
Which fit, yeah.
He's 12
better.
years old. This guy's in
yeah.
Arrested Development. He's a 12-year-old kid, right?
Yes.
So when he left the show, I remember I said, congratulations for leaving. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you've done everything you can do with this. You can just the money.
Well,
they tempted him.
I bet
there was some serious.
I don't know how he walked away from that money.
Well, he's doing the movies, right?
He was.
It's not like he walked out of there with. He's got a stack of scripts,
right,
that he's already committed to.
Still to this day, too.
He's doing 4 or 5 a year, right?
Yeah.
He gets to spend more time with his.
And we're talking about Steve Carell for the audience,
Steve Carell.
Yes.
I mean, you still don't understand when you're shooting 25 episodes of a series.
It's
what
a grinder. It's a grind, yeah.
We said the exact same word.
Yeah.
Oh, that's simpatico.
It is.
But, I mean, he's still just an employee, right? People don't understand that. It's still a show that's being produced that,
Sure.
You're saying exactly what they want you to say.
Yeah.
People always ask about improv on that, right?
There wasn't much, right?
Hell no.
No.
Every word on that show is approved by NBC.
Yeah.
You get notes from NBC.
Yeah.
And everybody has to follow those, right? So it's not like you're just riffing.
Yeah. Which is crazy with that cast of such. You've got so many talented comedians on that.
It's ridiculous, but they would burn takes to try to make each other laugh.
Right.
I mean, Carell and Krasinski and Rain are doing that.
Right.
The rest of the cast is not wasting time, right? You're not there to.
You don't want to get written out. You're like,
that's right. I remember I improv'd on one line once, and Greg Daniels was directing the episode. He's the executive producer, the creator. He looks at me and goes, "Can you just do what I wrote?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I can." I think I did 2 improvs that actually made this show.
Gotcha.
The one where I banged Phyllis in the bathroom on Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, the Valentine's Day episode.
In the disabled bathroom.
Yeah.
Which, that was a lot of fun, that scene there. Anyway, we come back to the table, and I say to her, would you like a big piece of meat?
Yeah.
And that was not in the script. That was
and that ended up
that was an improv line that made broadcast. I couldn't resist it. It was I had to.
Yeah. Man, that's fun. I again shocked that there's not more. It wasn't more improv on that show, but I'd heard that through the grapevine of like, no, they don't let you.
No, they're arguing over 10 seconds at the end of the show.
But yeah,
right. Can I get 22:40?
Yeah.
22:50.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
22 minutes and 50 seconds.
That's right.
For the audience, but it's one of those things looking back on it where because there was no improv, it also shows how great the writers were, where you're like, man, that's great writing on that show for that long.
Well, I had the opportunity to do Wings and Becker and these sitcoms in the 90s, right?
Sure.
And that's where precision writing really comes in, because that staff comes in every day after lunch, and they watch the rehearsal all the way through.
Yeah.
And then the next day you show up, there's the new jokes.
Yeah.
So you really see the transition of how the refinement comes into the timing, right? Because you end up doing the show in front of a live audience.
Sure.
Which is pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I remember I was on Wings and I had to come into this bar, and the comedian on the show, the warm-up comedian, he's leading them in a rousing rendition of Gilligan's Island, and I'm standing there waiting for that red light to go off, and I'm just thinking, do not fuck up.
Yeah, do not.
Whatever you do,
don't fuck up.
Do not fuck this up.
Did you fuck it up?
Hell no. I got to go over and grab Steven Weber and shake him like a little rag doll.
That's great. That's great.
And then I stole his girlfriend after that.
In real life, or?
Well, yeah, it was fucking glorious.
What was your favorites? What was your favorites over the years?
What?
All your movies, TV shows. What's been your favorite?
The Office. I mean, you have to say that. I think that was because you're working with so many great people, right?
Right.
And it was so beloved by peers.
Sure.
And you also no longer have to explain yourself when people go, You're an actor. What have I seen you in?
Yeah,
you can just go.
The Office.
The Office.
Yeah, and that's pretty
Drop
much
the
it.
mic.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
done.
Yeah.
My work is done here.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Yes. But I did a commercial that was even greater than that. I did a commercial with Kenny Rogers for Geico Insurance.
That's right. I saw that commercial.
That thing.
Yeah. Kenny Rogers.
Well, yeah, there's that.
That's dope.
But I mean, that was like everywhere I went, people were like,
Kenny Rogers. Yeah.
Like, damn, this is fame.
How was Kenny? Was Kenny cool?
Oh, he's great.
Was he?
Yeah, because you got to sit and ask him questions about his life.
It was just like 4 of you guys in that commercial, right?
4, counting Kenny.
Yeah, counting Kenny. You guys were playing poker.
We're playing poker, but it's great because it's an easy day for Kenny. They don't overwork Kenny.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, nobody's overworking
This
Kenny.
is like a half-day deal. Kenny's in it. They're paying him the big bucks. They're going to air it.
Oh, of course.
They're going to air it a lot.
Yeah.
And there's no way they can cut you out of it.
No.
Absolutely no way.
No.
You're in. You're safe.
Yeah, you're good to go.
And you're chatting with Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, yeah.
You got to know when to hold 'em.
Yeah, know when to fold 'em.
Know when to walk away.
Big fan of Kenny.
Yeah, we love it.
I'm from the South. Big fan of Kenny. Big fan of Kenny.
Are you from the South?
I am from Georgia. I grew up with Kenny Rogers. There was a movie as a kid.
I did not know that.
It was a movie as a kid. He did. He was the lead in a movie called Six Pack.
Sure.
And that was a huge movie. For
Crossover
us.
star.
No.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers did it all.
Yeah.
And the Roasters. And the goddamn Kenny Rogers Roasters.
That one didn't work out well for him.
Those restaurants?
Yeah, but he would probably got paid. That wasn't his money. Investors paid him, right?
To
put that money
put
up.
the name on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that wasn't his money.
No. I'm sure it wasn't.
No, somebody paid him big coin to borrow that name.
Who's your favorite actor you've worked with over the years?
Well, I really loved, and this will be obscure. Well, not really obscure.
No, but it's always, I will say this. Whenever I ask somebody that, it's always obscure because there's always some little...
Well, I love Timothy Bottoms.
Timothy Bottoms
was in The Last Picture Show with Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
He was the Tom Cruise of the early 70s.
Okay.
He actually turned down a movie called Jaws.
Oh, little tiny film.
Tiny film.
Tiny film.
They wouldn't meet his quote. He was the highest paid young actor in Hollywood.
You're kidding.
No. And so I love The Last Picture Show. The Last Picture Show is just a beautiful movie, right?
Right.
Peter Bogdanovich, black and white.
Young
Sybil Shepherd. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like Lauren Bacall said about if you haven't seen a movie, it's not old.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, it's not
true.
old. So working with him, I'd never known that I was going to get a chance to work with him, and I'd been a fan. It was the first time I really sort of had a fan thing,
Sure.
Where I was really paying attention to what actors were doing. So I got to be in a movie with him, this surrealist little comedy called Mr. Atlas, and we were playing brothers. And I was the stupid, I think I was playing a 12-year-old in that. Kind of talked like this a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of goofy bastard, But we were the bad guys. And so I realized that I could hang at that level.
Right.
Because he was an awesome.
And that's important. As a young actor, like that's important.
It was a big deal.
Because you see these people and you're like, all right, if I can hang with them in
That's
a
right.
scene, I'm good enough.
That's right.
And I can do this. I can do this.
That's where it really came to me that I've got the game.
Yeah.
To stay here. And hang with this guy because the producer directors are coming to me and they're saying, what should we say to Timmy because he's kind of mimicking your performance.
Right.
And I'm like, I wouldn't say anything.
I'm not saying shit to Timmy.
That's my brother. I'm here to protect you.
Yeah, mine was a guy named Alessandro Nivola. It's one of my favorite actors.
Where do I know him from?
God, he's been in everything. He was just on Broadway doing The Elephant Man with Bradley Cooper. He was in American.
That's a nice credit.
Yeah. He was in American Hustle. He was in. He does all those David O. Russell
What'd you
movies.
do with him?
I did a movie called the Darwin Awards. I didn't like the movie. It didn't turn out very well.
But
I don't think. But I had the same. I was.
You
in a
owned him.
scene
You
with
basically
him,
owned him
he
in
was
the scene.
Probably his most famous role. He's in Face Off. He was Nick Cage's brother.
Gotcha.
Castor Troy.
Sure. That's a wild little movie.
But he's such a great actor that he blends into every single movie.
Sure.
He's one of those guys who's done a million things, and he's always fucking good, but he's always playing wildly different characters.
You know why he's good? Because he's not calling attention to himself. He's living as the character.
I know.
Right? Difference between being an actor and being a movie star. Those are two completely different things.
But he could be a movie, because he's a good-looking dude, and he should be a gigantic movie star.
Make his own movie like Ross Patterson.
Well...
Take the Ross Patterson School of Filmmaking. Make your own fucking movie.
He makes too much money doing big studio shit that I don't think he'll do that. But actually, him and his wife are producing things right now. It's Emily Mortimer is his wife, but
she has some connection to the business, I believe.
Yeah. She's another huge actress. But with him, that was one of those things. Same thing where it was like I felt in the scene like I was like, oh, I can hang with him. And this is great. And I learned a shit ton from that guy. And just I think I only did one day with him, and I've never learned more from anybody else in that one day. And it was somebody that when I bring that name up in a conversation, same as you, people are like, where do I know that guy from? And it's the same thing where you're like, all right, you would think it's something else, but it's not.
Well, I noticed. We had done a master wide shot. We were in this cave, and we found this gold there, right? And so we had to be all excited. And then I was scared of the bats, of course. Bats are scary.
Yeah.
They carry rabies, right?
Yeah,
they can kill you, just any bad bat. So we did my shot and my close-up, and then when we got to his close-up, all of a sudden there was all this new stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wait a minute.
Where is this coming from? Because this wasn't in the master. This wasn't in the two-shot.
Yeah.
Never heard any of this. And I realized, he's trying to get the editor to choose his take.
Yeah.
Editor's been sitting there watching the same thing over
a lot of
and
people
over.
Do that, yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, here's a live wire.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? And
that's an old pro's trick right there.
An old pro's trick. And then one that I hate is, you ever have somebody step on your lines in a reverse shot where it's just like, because they don't want you to use your close-ups?
Well, I just wait then until I can say the line clean.
Yeah.
I'll just start over again.
But a lot of people don't know to do that, A lot of young actors don't know to do that.
We're on videotape here now.
Yeah,
we're not burning film,
You're not burning 30 or 35. Yeah.
Yeah, I like clean lines, especially when you're editing, as you know.
Yes.
I mean, that makes all the difference in the world.
Got to have it. Yeah.
There's times that you cannot get rid of that, because I know it sounds more naturalistic for actors to be that way. But that's a trick. That's not real acting. What they're doing there, right? No. I promised I wasn't going to pontificate about acting today, and I've already done it.
But you did. You did.
And I also said I was going to kiss your ass early and often.
You haven't. I want to ask you about they want Dick Dickster.
Yes.
I see it on your hat.
Sure. I'm plugging right now.
Of course, and you should be. This is your, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first foray into producing and
well, not
and
my first. No, not my first foray into producing. All those.
But you wrote it though, right?
I wrote it, produced it, and starred in it.
Yeah, but
I cast it, I edited it, I chose the music for it.
That was your first time doing all of this, though, right?
Right. This is my movie.
Yeah,
right?
It's your baby.
I mean, I couldn't have made it without all the help I had. Right.
Of course.
I mean, that was always the advantage that I knew that I had was talent.
Sure.
Right. And also, I had this crack film crew that had been shooting over at the asylum. So speed,
those guys shoot fast.
Speed was everything.
Yeah.
The other element is mockumentary. I have 3 cameras in the mockumentary, and I don't mind if I see any of them. So that speeds things up considerably. I mean, we were actually shooting 15-page days and wrapping early.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But the actors are so good. You know, the material involved them. They all contributed so much that, you know, from their wardrobe to their commitment to the piece and to the characters.
How did you like it? But how do you like it behind the scenes versus just being an actor casting something?
I like to cut the film.
Right. So
I like to choose the music.
I'm the same exact way.
I mean,
you know that. Like, yeah.
I like to cast the film.
Yeah.
So that's really what I want to do now is just make my own movies. I mean,
yeah.
If I can just the funding source, where do I want that $100 million line of credit.
I know, everybody does. Everybody does. How did you get investors for it?
I have friends that I
that's how we all do it.
I
Friends,
I
family.
pitched the deal.
Yeah.
And I shot it in 6 days. I brought this film in.
Holy shit.
In 6 days. So I just raised the money for the production of the film.
Right.
And then I said, I'll raise the rest of the money
for post
when I get there.
Right.
Because the window of people being able to do it was it was then. We had to shoot it right then.
Right.
So we just went. Right. And then I weaseled the rest of the money to finish it.
The movie.
Just made a deal with Indican Pictures, a nice little company.
Yeah, Indican's great.
Yeah, they specialize in this budgetary level. They've done 250 films in the last 20 years.
Yeah, they've done. I want to say Boondock Saints was.
That was their big film.
Their big one, yeah.
That's still in the money for them.
Of course,
she proudly informed me of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
when does it get released?
Before the end of the year.
Okay.
I don't have a specific date yet.
Sure.
Because they still have.
Yeah, to finish marketing. Have you seen the poster, the artwork, all that stuff?
I haven't seen their poster yet. We commissioned a poster, for sales purposes.
Right.
But they'll be using their own.
Yeah.
I'm effectively out of that decision making at this point.
That's hard too, because if you don't like the artwork, then it's just like.
Well, they're a sales agent, so they're a distributor. Their job is to sell the film.
Yes.
Right. So that's the only thing that matters to me is how committed is this company to selling the film
and getting it out there.
Everybody's selling to the same places.
Yes.
For essentially the same monies.
Yeah.
Right. So what level of honesty can I expect here?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we know there's a certain amount of money that the film should generate.
Yes.
We're not novices to what people are being paid
to
put it on this platform or that platform.
Absolutely.
There are intangibles and variables in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how's it going to do foreign? How does a film about Hollywood sell?
Yeah. Do you have enough names in it to sell foreign? That's a big one.
Well, my choice for the second male lead was Tim Russ from Star Trek Voyager.
Okay.
So,
see, yeah,
I was like, Star Trek, yes, let's hire him.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
Yeah,
because their fans are devout.
Rabid. Oh yeah,
like the Office fans are devout, right?
That's why it was so hard to get William Shatner for Range 15. It was that Star Trek fan base is so rabid that it's like. His quote is
the
crazy.
Agents know his value.
Yeah, his quote's pretty high. I know. It's just like, oh yeah,
right.
They absolutely know his value.
Like Kevin Sorbo, his agents know his international value.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
He can,
and he's reinvented himself again and again. Like he did those Christian movies that were hot for a while. Made a ton of movies.
You can't go wrong with a good Christian movie.
Now I think
right
he's doing Supergirl on CW, and it's like
Donkashane.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, happy day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the dream job right there, right? You only show up 1 or 2 days a week on an ensemble, and you're not carrying the load.
No, and you're walking away with a nice payday.
This is the biggest money he's ever made in his career, I'm sure. I mean, maybe.
Well, no. You look at Hercules and Andromeda, which I think he was also.
But those
a producer
are years ago. I mean,
yeah. But I think he was also a producer on it.
Oh, I see.
So he owned part of those franchises. But
here's a true story that'll scare the living hell out of you. I'm not going to say this guy's name, but he was a producer on a little show called Baywatch.
Oh yeah.
And he actually got.
You talking about Hasselhoff?
No. I'm not. You know,
Hasselhoff was a producer on
but this is the first season. He was on this show as executive producer or producer.
Sure.
And he was directing episodes, and he got fired.
Oh no!
From Baywatch.
And that's
over creative,
the world's biggest show in the world.
Creative differences.
Oh God!
So
at that point, you eat it. I mean, it's the world's biggest
that's
show.
That's 12 more years of just
Everybody
this
got
revenue
paid.
stream that was just, still paying.
Yep.
And you got fired over creative differences. Seriously?
There's a Baywatch movie coming out this summer with The Rock and Zac Efron.
Well, I can guarantee you those producers that own those TV rights are going to profit off of that.
Yeah. They got paid to.
Oh,
for the rights to that. Yeah.
God,
that guy
that keeps on giving.
That guy. What's your craziest story from set? You got a good one?
Craziest story?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're all crazy, really, when you're pretending to be someone else.
But was there one where you were just like, wow, this was fun?
Well, I remember I was working with Nick Vallelonga. We were doing a picture called The Corporate Ladder. And the opening scene is me raping Kathleen Kinmont.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, good time.
Yeah.
I just kept asking for another take.
Yeah. Can I get one more rape take? Do they call that a rape take in the biz?
Well, not the time I got raped.
Did you get raped in a movie?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
No, that was hard to do.
By a man?
Well, a man holding a pistol.
No way. What movie was this?
It's called Knife Point. It's a home.
You got raped at gunpoint in a movie called Knife Point?
Yeah, it was a home invasion. But it's tastefully done.
Yeah. Describe this like.
The sensation was cold and steelish.
Yeah, but how were you raped? Somebody broke into the house, or?
Well, yeah, they capture my daughters. I mean, my son gets killed. My wife gets killed. It's brutal.
Right.
I mean, it's a what do they call it? Gore porn. I mean.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean it's all about the violence, right? It's lingering and it's coming from all quarters.
Sure.
I mean, the problem with the film was the script. There's too many bad guys, right? Everybody on that side was a bad guy.
Right.
And you don't need you need a couple bad guys, right? You don't need all 7 of them to be certifiably insane. So this actor was a method actor, and he was way over the top, and I was like,
he wanted to actually rape you.
This guy gets to rape me with a.
Shut the fuck up. So what? How did that shake out?
Well, I was really, there was some trepidation,
Yeah,
there was some trepidation. I didn't trust him, right? So that you really need to trust people in these situations.
Yeah.
But it ended up okay.
You don't sound super positive about that.
It took about 6 months for the swagger to come back. You lose a little of the swagger.
Did you watch the movie and see yourself getting raped?
I only watched myself in the movie. I couldn't stand anybody else. Are you kidding? Yeah, only my scenes. I don't watch anybody else's shit.
So you've raped in a movie. You've been raped in a movie.
Yeah. It's Hollywood.
Yeah. You've done it all. You played Helen Kellen's father.
Yeah, that's right.
Keller's father in a
that's
movie,
a huge credit there.
Yeah. I mean,
it's an all-timer.
You've done it all.
Who else got to play Helen Keller's father?
No one.
You're looking at
Yeah, I know. Right here. That's the guy.
That's what a man does for his goddamn family.
Well, Bobby Ray, it was a pleasure to have you. We got.
Are we done?
Well, yeah. We get to the point of the show. We do this revolutionary figure of the week.
Okay.
Revolutionary figure of the week goes to William Cullen from the University of Glasgow. He demonstrated that the first artificial refrigeration system was in the year 1748.
Nice.
However, he didn't use this discovery for practical purposes. In the year 1805, U.S. inventor Oliver Evans designed the first refrigerator machine that didn't use liquid. Instead, it used vapor to cool. And because of Bob Vance Refrigeration, obviously, we're going with the guy who started the refrigerator.
Bob Vance.
You're welcome.
Vance Refrigeration.
You're welcome. This was painless, right?
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's a blast.
And I don't think I incriminated myself really at any time.
No.
I mean, I was purposefully vague.
Yeah.
Whenever.
And you got a great voice for radio, too, by the way. I mean, we do audio and video, but you have a great voice.
You're supposed to say you have a great face for radio.
No, but you have a great voice. You really do for radio. A great face for radio is an insult.
Well, thank you.
If I said a great face for radio, it's insulting you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but your voice is great.
And, well, thank you.
I greatly appreciate you doing all of my films over the years for next to nothing and being amazing in them. And you're one of my favorite actors. So
thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's see that handshake. You heard him.
And thanks for being on the Ross Patterson Revolution. That is it, kids.
Viva la revolution.
Stay tuned for the next one. We love you. Bye, everybody.